New leaks provided to Ken Klippenstein and now to us via the Intercept, a Navy counterterrorism training document obtained exclusively by the Intercept has an interesting view on socialism and how it compares to other ideologies. So in this training document, they have a section that's subtitled Study Questions, and it includes the following question. Anarchists, socialists, and neo-Nazis represent which terrorist ideological category? The correct answer is political terrorists. A military source briefed on the training told me. So, like, they ask you this open question. Hey, so you got neo-Nazis, and then you have, I don't know, like the new mayor of Buffalo. What's the link? They're both political terrorists, according to a counterterrorism training document. So this is the Introduction to Terrorism and Terrorist Operations document. It's part of a longer training manual recently disseminated by the Naval Education Training and Command's Navy Tactical Training Center in conjunction with the Center for Security Forces. The training is designed for masters at arms, the Navy's internal police. And an anonymous military official said to Ken, it's just ineffective training because whoever is directing the Navy anti-terror curriculum would rather vilify the left than actually protect anything, despite the fact that the most prominent threat is domestic right-wing terror. Or is it? Perhaps the DSA types. I mean, after all, like the right-wingers will like set bombs. The DSA members sometimes call each other comrades. So you decide. JR, what do you think?
Yeah, okay. So the only thing I disagree with on that last from this anonymous military official is that this is an ineffective training. It's very effective. It's 100% effective. It's doing exactly what the people who've proposed it to do, is to brainwash the people that are involved with this internal police within the Navy to think a certain way. So we talked about training for police officers just in civilian interactions. And of course it goes through the military training. There's plenty of people in the military that have skewed views of what life is. Just because they're in these positions of power and enforcement doesn't mean that they have everything figured out and right. And in fact, it also doesn't mean that they're purposely trying to teach them something that makes any sense. It's why there's all this push against the way universities and colleges teach folks and this inclusive approach to how we interact with each other. Oh, these socialists, these libs, these progressives. I can't believe they're brainwashing our children as soon as they leave the house to tell them that everyone is not evil and against them because their life is different than theirs. It's so weird. But at the same time, the reason that they think that all these libs are brainwashing your children is because they're brainwashing your children. They're brainwashing your teenagers, and they're also brainwashing your young adults that are in the Navy that are in positions of power. They need a certain kind of a militaristic, anti-progressive type of approach for some reason. I'm not sure if it devalues your fighting force. It keeps you from doing things in a more heinous way. I'm not sure what they're looking to build in folks to have them come with this skewed version of reality.
Yeah, it's just complete nonsense. Look, I don't know if it's the sort of thing that's designed subconsciously to get people to be so biased, or if it's a result of the people who write this growing up in a system that has trained them to be super suspicious of these types, or if it's both, if it's the causality works in both directions, but it's nonsense and we need to fight back against it. That's why the title of this stream is why you should be excited for socialism. That's why we think it's so awesome when openly democratic socialists are winning elections. It is utter nonsense to claim that such a broad political ideology and identification is the same exact thing as neo-Nazis. I'm sure, but by the way, many anarchists would also have an issue with being lumped into that. But yeah, like, no, if you're a socialist, you're a terrorist. So, like if you're a terrorist out there watching the show, raise your hand. I think there's a few of you. Anyway, as that military official pointed out, Ken will also point out in his article on the Intercept, which you should definitely take a look at, that look, you can train the masters at arms in this nonsense, but the military does actually know whether they want to publicly acknowledge what the real threat is. Both the FBI and the Department of Homeland Security have identified white supremacists as the deadliest terror threat to the US. Back in October 2020, the Department of Homeland Security issued its first annual Homeland Threat Assessment report, stating that white supremacists were exceptionally lethal and will remain the most persistent and lethal threat in the homeland. So all of that is true. It's based off of the actual threats, the actual plots that they've uncovered. How much of that will actually filter out to regular people? Will they understand the nature of this threat? Will the media accept it? Because something about the socialists being naturally inclined to be political terrorists there's not a lot of mainstream media that's gonna have a huge automatic knee-jerk opposition to that. So that's sort of my fear, JR.
Yeah, whenever facts are put forward like that about the actual threat and much of the domestic terrorism that we see, who it comes from, and then nothing is done about it, blatantly and openly. You saw during Trump's his one term, we saw how much he was ignoring it. In fact, directly in the face of it happening in front of him, was downplaying it. Every time someone would ask him about those rare occasions when they asked him, so your support base is based on white supremacists, and also these studies show that white supremacists are the leading terror group. Are you looking to ramp that down a bit? No, because we saw even what happened after he lost the election, he ramped it up further. That's his power base. That's where he gets his intimidation factors from. So whenever any kind of uprisings or violence breaks out that he also advocated for, even during his primary time, that's what he's looking for. So Republicans, conservatives always talk about law and order and deterrence. They know what deterrence is. They always talk about it. Punish the people that you see doing the bad things, and maybe you'll stop more from coming out, inspiring more and more of it. So when you don't do anything about it, it grows. They know that, and we see it growing, but they ignore it. They just brush that part aside. And whenever you see a one particular group that's obviously the problem getting brushed aside by this other very powerful political party, I think it's pretty obvious that that's who they want to keep in power.
Yeah. Well, I agree. And if you are out there in a position where you have access to documents like this and want a safe and secure place to air them, head over to the Intercept. Ken Klippenstein's contact information is available in the article that we're referencing here. So go take a look at that. He's done a number of great pieces like this. Great work by Ken. For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.